I'm going to go ahead and start the recording here. Get my TV plugged in.
And now I can.
All right, and I'd like to start with a round of either what you appreciate or what's hot and exciting. Who would like to share first? Was that Charlie?
I'm still thinking, but I can.
What you got, bro?
Hot and exciting is I haven't had class in over a week.
That is exciting. Not exciting that there was a hurricane causing that, but
Yeah.
exciting nonetheless. Cool.
I mean, we're all good though. We're back now. We're fine.
Yeah, I appreciate your safety. How's that?
Hey, that's exciting too.
Agreed. All right, beautiful. Who's got next? Oh, Brandon, you joined us. Do you want to share something hot and exciting?
Really exciting. My Wi-Fi just got fixed, so I could actually join the meeting.
Yeah. By the way, for Brandon, he's also from the Howard County office. By the way, Nick is right here. Yeah.
Oh, Nick! What's good, bro?
He got his Leadership Academy interview the same time as all of you guys, and then there was some transition, and he never knew if he made it in or not. So he and I got a phone call on Thursday as I was on the way to rugby practice, and we basically did Leadership Academy interview round 2, and he made it in, so joining us officially for his first one. Actually, can we clap it up for Brandon officially getting in?
Thank you.
Awesome, brother. Welcome. So we have 2 first-timers here tonight. Good. Wonderful. Who's got next?
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Um,
Can you slide it just a little bit and make it look like you like these people? And also so I
yeah.
can attempt to fit you in the camera.
I guess what I appreciate in Side Vector is the fact that they have an opportunity to teach us like life skills, which is Leadership Academy. That's a pretty unique opportunity that I don't think most jobs offer, especially for free. What I appreciate outside of Vector, a free market for America, I guess.
Yeah, where you can develop apps and sell stuff at exorbitantly high prices.
Yeah.
And that's encouraged. Love it. Cool. Who's got next? By the way, thank you for sharing.
Oh, okay. So I'm really excited because I'm going to travel a lot this year. I haven't traveled since I was 12, so it's, I love moving and traveling a lot. And I think that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Inside of Vector, flexibility, outside, just friends.
By the way, no one can hear you.
Yeah, I can.
No one can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Inside of Vector, flexibility, and then outside of Vector, my birthday's on Wednesday, and my friends with many things want me, so I'm happy.
That is very exciting. Early happy birthday.
Thank
You see. Landon, can I volunteer you, sir?
Do I have a choice?
I mean, technically yes, but kind of no.
Nah, you good. Inside of Vector, I appreciate you, John, because you're just a man and you're flexible and you help me out and all that stuff. And then outside of Vector, I mean, I'm just doing football, So, well, I had a game 2 weeks ago. We won 60-0, so that was good. And then last week we were on national television, but we lost, so that wasn't good. So
Yeah. But right up to be on TV. That's a good start.
yeah, it's cool.
I appreciate you too, Landon, but I have to tell you a story about Landon that embarrasses me.
Oh, gosh.
As a fellow athlete, I had a pretty fun picture. I can show it to you guys later if you want, from my game on Saturday. And I thought that he would appreciate it. So I sent it to him, and his response, "What am I looking at?" I was like, haha, it's a fun picture for me after rugby. And he just, no response. And I was like, oh, I thought we were like athletes, but no.
John,
Anyway,
I had a game the next day, man. I'm sorry. I dubbed everybody. I'm sorry.
it's fine. I got you, bro. I just figured that was a fun story. Anyway,
I didn't say
anyway, thank you, Landon, for sharing. Miss Becky, can I have you go next?
Inside of Vector, I appreciate the people I've met and the culture it gives, being surrounded with a bunch of people with goals and who are driven and want to do things. It's nice to be around. Outside of Vector, I put a new thing on my goals list. I'm shooting to have a new car either winter or as a New Year's gift. So
Hey. I would love to go shopping with you if that's an option. Hashtag just saying.
yes.
Also, I want to give Becky props. It is a little tougher, right? For those people that are away at college, they don't have a local office to plug into. Making calls and doing that stuff on your own, it's tough, right? Just to hold yourself accountable and do the thing without having other people pushing you. And Becky made her first round of calls for the semester on Sunday. Was not able to join us for the PSP meeting, but she said, hey, I'm going to still get it done. I'll let you know after I finish. And she booked her first 2 appointments. So I know that's not exactly where you want to be. I know there's still work to be done, but I definitely want to give you kudos for knocking the rust off, making the first round of calls, and holding yourself accountable to doing what you said you would do. So I appreciate you for that, Miss Ellison. Miss Brown, can I get you next, please?
Yeah. So inside of Vector, the
And if you don't mind, if you can speak closer to your laptop because we can't hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is that good?
A little better. Not really.
Okay. Well, inside of Vector, the flexibility has been really helpful. Like, I know I've been doing other things besides Vector, but you've still been by my side, like, through everything. So that's been really helpful. And then outside of Vector, I would say college. College is so fun. Love it.
I don't know why, but I appreciate it.
It's crazy.
Oh, now we don't hear anymore. Okay.
What?
It's fine. I appreciate you, Miss Brown.
I didn't hear what you said.
It's fine.
Okay.
By the way, Carissa was not able to be with us last week. She made every effort and for some reason just couldn't get the sound on her computer to work. And I want to give her props for immediately getting on the Leadership Academy website, watching the recording, and making sure that she stayed caught up. So thank you and congrats for that. Mr. Boynest, would you mind bringing us home for the teleconference crew?
Yeah. So inside of Vector.
There's no way you're cold.
No, my house is freezing right now.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So inside of Vector, I'm also appreciative for you, John. And outside of outside of Vector, I got to see my dog this weekend, so I'm really appreciative for him.
That is a good time. I'm sure he or she, the dog, was very, very happy to see you, I'm sure. Nice. And then Miss Harris, do you want to bring us home for the in-office crew?
So inside of Vector, I appreciate the flexibility and also the trips. As Callie's coming up, excited for that.
Same.
And then outside of Vector, my family.
I'm going to go to Cali a couple days earlier than you just to scope it out, make sure it's good.
It's going to be good.
If it's not good, I'll tell you.
It's going to be good either way.
By the way, Will, hopefully we can get you to Cali. You won that. I don't know if you're coming or not, but you won it. I mean, just putting it out there. But yes, traveling courtesy of Uncle Vector is always a good time. By the way, for all of you guys, thank you for sharing. I do want to share mine. Number one, we had on Saturday, every single person who had committed themselves to being at the prep on Saturday was present. And from what I heard, the people who were there, very impressive in terms of how you dressed, how you carried yourselves, your engagement. So I know I wasn't there personally for this one. And just to be clear for anybody who was wondering, I talked to Kate way in advance when I signed up for the rugby club, gave her the season schedule, and we agreed that I would play rugby at this game because it was only our second one of the season, but I will be present at the October, November, and December prep. So just FYI, right? That was planned out well in advance. But I appreciate you guys, and I do want to thank Kayla for being the leader on the team. Did you get a team selfie? No. I almost appreciate Kayla for most of what she did. That's true. But I do appreciate all of you guys representing well, especially in my absence. And also congrats to you guys because that does speak highly of you. Also, we did have a game on Saturday. And for those of you on teleconference, I don't know how well you're able to see that, but that was one of my highlight photos from the game. On my screen, it looks pretty good, so hopefully you can see it. What?
Nothing.
What did you say?
Wait, let me
I
see.
didn't joke. I want to hear it. It's probably hilarious.
What is that? Oh, okay. Are you cheerleading?
No, I'm catching the
It
ball.
looks like you guys
on rugby. on rugby, when the ball goes out of bounds, that's how you get it back in, is you lift a dude up in the air and throw it. And I personally had probably the best game I've played. I made more tackles on dudes twice my size than I've made in probably 2 years. So I was very pleased with my performance. Did dislocate a rib in the process.
Hey.
So,
Good work, John. Good work, John. I appreciate it.
No pain, no gain.
Landon and I are back on the same page again.
We're good.
Oh, I dislocated a rib. In fact, I didn't know that was the thing that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, got semi-healed up today, going back on Thursday to finish getting healed, and then I'll be back in the game again on Saturday. It's life, right? Ball is life, right, Landon? Anyway, let's go ahead and tuck in here. Just so you guys know, 2 things. Number one, and I am going to ask all of you guys to send me a text message really quick, even those of you in the office, just text me. Number one, I want to give you a reminder that the SLC push begins tomorrow. It is the single biggest push of the entire year. It's our only national competition. And not only that, but also as a manager candidate, one of our standards, right, in the DC Metro division is high standards in sales performance. And also for especially those of you pursuing assistant manager or branch manager roles or district manager roles next summer, the way that you push personally as a sales rep yourself is the way that your team will push themselves next summer. Okay, we only have 3 pushes in the entire Leadership Academy process, including all of fall, all of spring. We have one that starts tomorrow. We have one in November leading up to the Olean trip. And then we have one, in January where we compete for a trip to go somewhere warm, which, by the way, in the DC Metro division and the Annapolis or Naptown district team specifically, we have a track record of bringing 80+% of our manager candidates on our international trip that we go to in the winter break. Just putting that out there. But that said, I'm going to ask all of you guys for your goal/target for the SLC push. I'm working on pulling up the contest. Where is it? SLC contest? Yes. All right, so I know those of you who were at the divisional prep on Saturday got a chance to have this unveiled. Let me go ahead and share it on the screen here. Hey, but just a reminder, it starts tomorrow. It goes for 2 weeks up until October 1st. If you sell $1,000, you are entered in a drawing to win $500. That is stupid if you consider that you're already making 20, 25, 30%, some of you guys even more than that. And then on top of that, you can win another 50% of what you sold. That is dumb, right? And for those of you, there are some people who are like, oh, drawing, right? Well, you got to be in it to win it. So let's make sure we get you in it, right? Now, I personally am also a bigger fan of automatic prizes. So if you sell $3,000, you get your choice of a gut hook hunting knife and a fishing. Holy cow, I would take that one for sure. Holy cow, is that real? No, the Master Carver set, that's what you need. You need that. That has been discontinued for like 6 years. I don't know how or why it's back, but you need that in your life. So you could get a hunting knife and a fishing knife. That wouldn't be a terrible decision. You could get the flatware, but what you need in your life is the Master Carving set, and that is an automatic prize. You sell $5,000, you get a signature SLC trophy. That's boss. Or you get the Champions Club polo. You guys have seen me wear that one, so you know what it looks like. It's the silver Under Armour one with your initials on it. Both of those are great choices. You sell $7,000, you get your choice of a $150 gift card. I know, Carissa, that's what you would take 100%. Or an NFL jersey of your choice. And if you sell $10,000, you automatically win your choice of either Apple AirPods and a $50 iTunes gift card, or a 42-inch flat screen smart TV. I don't know about you, but I know without question what I would take, okay? So the reason I'm asking for this, and by the way, I do want to give kudos On one extreme end of the spectrum, Kevin was telling me, he's like, I'm going to completely rearrange my schedule. I'm going to change my workouts. I'm going to change my sleeping habits. I'm going to change a whole bunch of stuff so that I can make myself available and go after this push, right? And quite honestly, number one, Kevin is not a college student. Number two, Kevin never had an SC2 push because he started after SC2 was already over. He actually started after COC was already over. So for Kevin, this is his chance to do an SC2 push, and he and I agreed that we would make phone calls and have a 10X every morning at 8 a.m., just like we did in the SC2 push for Kevin. On the other end of the spectrum, Will told me, he's like, look, I really can't commit to doing demos between school and D1 soccer and all the other stuff involved in that. He said, I don't know that I can do demos, but I can at least send an email to my past customers and try to get a follow-up call or text with each of them, okay? So I'm gonna ask all of you guys to do more than what you've been doing. A, to help yourself win prizes. B, to help our team be competitive at a national level. C, to distinguish yourself and hold the standards of the DC Metro Division as one of our leadership candidates. Okay, so that said, I want each of you guys to send me a text message really quick now, please. I want to know how many appointments you can do. And again, I want a number that's going to challenge you. So there are some of you guys, I think Landon and Will should be the only ones with a demo goal of 0. And I still want you guys to take an action, right? And then everybody else, just so you know, in a typical week as a college student, 5 to 8 appointments is pretty standard. If you're not a student, more like 10, 15 plus is standard. But I want you guys to pick a target that is going to push you, something that you can definitely commit to, right? Don't tell me, oh yeah, I'm going to do 1,000 appointments and then do 0, right? I want you to tell me something that you can definitely do, but not the easy number, right? Not the one that's like, oh yeah, if I just mail it in, I'll get at least this much. I don't want that number, not for push. Are you guys tracking with me? Cool, I got Charlie's. Got Landon's. Oh, Landon's trying to go for not 0. I appreciate that. Will's going to try to get at least 1, but he's committed to reaching out to past customers. I appreciate that. I got Kevin, Kayla, Brandon. By the way, Brandon, we got to get you on the virtual demo, bro. That virtual demo is sick. Actually,
Todd, do they have is the new virtual demo out?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was watching about that. Yeah, that is how I'm gonna do all mine.
Maybe.
Because I have one contact in Colombia, so other than that, I'll probably have to do virtuals if I.
Oh yeah, you can do all virtuals. Just that new virtual. I think the training for it is like what, 90 minutes? Yeah. You have to go through a 90-minute training to be allowed to do it. So it may be in your best interest to just go with go with what you know. But either way, we'll figure it out. It's a thing that exists for sure. All right, I think I got everybody's target. So thank you for that. Wonderful. And here's what I'd like to do is I want to get straight into the interview with you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, please, if you were able to print out the interview script, if you can print it. I got your email too late. I will send it to you. Kevin, if you don't mind, can you run back and grab the interview scripts that we have in the office, please?
Sure.
If you weren't able to print it, if you can pull it up on your computer, I would be grateful. And what I would like to do here is model for you guys what the interview looks like. And then I want to have you guys practice it. Cool? So I'm going to minimize this, move that, move that. Thank you.
John, I'm going to have to go in a minute. Is there anything? So you want me to just go over the sheet?
Watch the recording, basically pick up from where we left off.
Okay.
And then just watch the finish. And then we're going to do some role playing. I do want you to role play on your own out loud. And then we can follow up on the
call on Wednesday.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. All right, yeah, I'll get it done before we talk on Wednesday.
Cool. But do stay as long as you can, of course, and then when you gotta go, you gotta go. We talked about that earlier.
Yep.
All right, so we talked last week about the pre-screening, and just a reminder, if you were not present last week, make sure that you go back and watch the recording on the website and get a chance to actually practice that out loud, because we are sticking and moving. What I'm going to do here is dig into some of the keys of the group interview. Okay, and this is split into two parts. There's before video and after video. Okay, we're going to dig into both of those today. I'm going to cover very briefly some tips and tricks and highlights for that, and I want to spend most of our time this evening practicing it. Next week, we're going to do the post-interview, how to give someone the job or how to not give someone the job properly. We're going to practice that. And then when we have our next divisional prep in October, you guys are going to be quizzed and drilled on your skill set with the interview. But our goal is to stick and move and get it done. Because if you guys remember from last week, several years ago, we spent all the way up until late November learning the interview, and there's a lot more fun and exciting things that we can do. So if we work hard to get this thing done here, I believe our next topic is about advanced money management skills, which they're not going to teach you in school. I'll teach you the secrets to building wealth, which I'm really excited about. Anyway, that said, let's go ahead with the interview, okay? So first things first, you want to have your office set up with, so it's clean, it's neat, it's organized. The background music should be on, whether you have an Amazon Alexa or whether you just have a radio, doesn't matter. But the music creates the tempo and the culture in your office. What you don't want is that someone walks in and it's completely dead silent. It feels kind of weird and awkward and uncomfortable. But you don't want to run an interview with music playing in the background, because even just thinking about that, it sounds kind of weird. Does that make sense? So Kevin and I were talking earlier today and yesterday about how I use the music in the office to dictate what's happening, right? So what I do is if I'm not speaking or if I'm meeting with people in the pre-screenings, the music is playing, it's background noise, and as soon as the last pre-screen is done, what I do is I come up to the front of the room and I'll seat people, okay? When I'm seating people, and this may be worth taking notes on because it's not written in the script, but if you have a small interview that's only one or two people, you can just have them come up to the front, not a big deal, right? But when you have a large interview, actually, Kayla, do you remember how big your biggest interview was in the summer? Cool. So Kayla's was almost double digits. I didn't have this summer, but the biggest I've ever run was 55 people in an interview at one time. It was pretty intense. And what you want to do is a couple things. You want to seat people strategically. Number one, you want your best candidates, the ones that are most impressive, closest to you. Okay, so I want my top people in front of the desk, on the sides of the desk, closest to me. And the least impressive people can be furthest away. This makes sense, right? Number two is you want to put likes with likes. Okay, if I have this very petite young woman, right, who looks like she's very bookish, I'm not going to sit her next to someone who's like ultra aggressive football player, right? Because they're not likes. They might both be excellent candidates and very impressive people, but they're different, so I wouldn't put them with each other. Does that make sense? Conversely, if I have a couple athletes or a couple people that are in the band or musicians, right, I would put those people with each other to the best of my ability, because likes attract likes. Does this make sense? By the way, whoever's got the background noise, I can't see you, but if you can mute, I'd be very grateful. Thank you. But anyway, so that's the first thing, is you want to be strategic with getting your people set up. I stand in front of the room. You never want to sit while you're running the group part of the interview, even if it's a one-on-one interview. Okay, the interview is always standing. Your body language when you run the interview should be very authoritative and commanding. That means men and women alike, shoulders back, right? hands above your waist. One of the keys is to be really still. One of the keys is to be really still. It was funny, after our rugby match, we all got together, both teams, and I really genuinely wanted to record the other team's captain announcing their MVPs and player of the game, because he was up there and he was like dancing, right? Just kind of standing in one spot, doing a little two-step shuffle. And I was like, he's announcing the player of the game, and yet A, I'm distracted by his two-step. B, well, it wasn't actually a two-step, it was a nervous twitch, right? B, he doesn't seem confident delivering what he's delivering. So even though he knows who the man of the match is, it's devalued by the delivery. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And you guys have seen this before with other speakers when their delivery devalues what they say. And so you want to be very still. It's authoritative, it's commanding, but it puts the emphasis on what you're saying. Another thing is you want to speak very, very loudly. I was telling Kevin the other day, I shadowed him running an interview. Not to pick on Kevin, but he's just run his first couple. And we've been training pretty intensively the past couple weeks together. But I sat in the back of the room and I watched him do an interview with one person. And I said, I'm in the back of the room, maybe 15 feet away, I guess. And I could barely hear you. Doesn't matter that the person sitting in front of you can hear you. If you're speaking at normal volume or slightly soft, it's not commanding, right? You want to speak loudly enough that someone in the back of the room could hear you at normal volume. It's all about setting the tone and the authority, right? And then the last thing is you want to read the script with confidence. Okay, I've seen lots of people do this different ways. I've seen some people where they set the binder on the desk. By the way, you guys will all have a binder. Okay, I recommend a 1-inch white binder, and that as we send you documents, you're printing them and adding them to the binder. If you want to get advanced, that's the best way to do it. If you want to wait until winter break, you can just take all the documents and print them at once, but it would be better to do it as we go. 1-inch white binder, that's what you want. Anyway, I've seen some people where they keep the binder on the desk and they use it as a reference point like so. I've seen some people where they hold the binder like this, almost like it's a lectern that they're reading from. You can do that. I've seen other people where they'll take the sheets out of the binder, use them like this. This used to be my favorite when I was running interviews. And they'll use the sheets like that. And then if you do that, obviously just make sure they go back into the binder in the correct order, of course, right? But either way, you want to read with confidence is the key. And eventually there will come a time that you memorize the interview, and that will be a thing that becomes valuable eventually. But when you're new, it's just like being a sales rep. Reading confidently is better than winging it and paraphrasing it with a lot of eye contact. You guys tracking with me? Okay. So when we role play, I'm going to model one for you, and then we'll use most of our time this evening to practice. But I'm going to model one for you, and I want you to just see what that looks like. Okay. So Kevin and Tiffany, we can see the camera. I'm going to face the camera toward them, and I know that the majority of the screen right now is taken up with what's on my TV. Which, by the way, what's on the TV right now? That is what your applicants see when they first walk into the office. Okay, so I'm going to pretend I've already pre-screened the two of you guys, and I'm doing the beginning part of the group interview. Cool?
Sure.
All right. So before we start, first off, I would turn off the music. So before we start, I want to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, and especially at this time of year, it's even more competitive than normal. I know the easy thing to do would be to stay home and wait until it's easier or just put it off until later, but you made a decision to put yourself out there and do something uncomfortable. So again, I want to acknowledge you for being here and wish you both good luck for today. Again, my name's John Godwin. I started back in 2005 as a student at Loyola University in Baltimore. And I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for our customers. Does anybody have a shiny penny?
I don't.
All right, I keep a few in here just in case this happens. So the first demonstration that we do for our customers is we'll take our scissors and their penny and make some change for them. Wow. You can see the scissors aren't sharp, so they're safe. They also come apart for cleaning and they're dishwasher safe. so you guys can check those out. And then you already know the main product is cutlery. So Tiffany, help me out here if you would. A regular steak knife. This is leather. Go ahead and cut through there. Great. And then I'll trade you for the Cutco. You said it there. Thank you. Cool, yeah? And then if you can pass it over to Kevin. And Kevin, go ahead and do 3 pieces here.
Sure.
Very carefully, do 6. And then very carefully do 12. Want to go again?
Sure.
I'm just kidding. They're cool toys though, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, my personal favorite thing about the product is that it's all American made. The factory is actually in New York. And 70% of the people who make the products are military veterans. So what I'm going to do now is play a short video that'll explain the position in full detail. One thing I do want to mention is that the video uses a $15 pay rate for standardization, since this video is used across the country, but our pay rate in this office is $18.50. Also, a typical appointment takes roughly an hour. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the customer, but about an hour is pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes and also keep a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones, and at the end, I'll make sure that all of your questions are answered. I'm also going to give you this sheet here. This is what it looks like. There's going to be 5 multiple choice questions that come up during the video. I'd like you to answer those as they come up. And don't worry about the short answers. We'll do those at the end. Sound good? I pass around the sheets.
Thank you.
And then what I will do from there is I hit play on the video. And just like as a sales rep, your transition is also paying attention to the forever guarantee. This is what makes us so unique. And you hit play on the video. It's the exact same thing here. It's like, so we'll answer your questions at the end. Hit play on the video. One thing I do like to do is stay at the front of the room until the video is playing to make sure the volume is appropriate. There have been times where the volume on the TV has been cranked all the way up to max or whatever. So I just like to make sure the volume is appropriate before I leave. And then what I do is after I have the video playing, I sit in the back of the room and I start working on texting no-shows or following up on applications. Today I actually scheduled 4 people for interviews during the interview, which is pretty damn boss, which was all through text message. We'll cover that another time. But anyway, so I'm sitting in the back of the room monitoring the interview, and I'm working on a couple things, and we'll get into that when we get to that section. Does that all make sense, though?
Yeah.
The main thing I want you to take away from what I just did is the tone, right? The way that it's very flat, it's authoritative. I don't run the interviews in the same demeanor that I just talked to you guys, right? Because you already got the job. And I wanted you to see what that looks like. Let me pause for a moment. Any questions specifically for the people who have never, it could be anybody, but specifically for the people who have never run an interview before, any questions on why or how I did what I did? I'm not hearing anything, so I assume that's a no?
Yeah, that's enough.
I can't see all of you guys. All right, here's what I would like to do then. Kayla, can you help me facilitate this, please? We have a good number of people on teleconference. I'm just thinking of how I want to do this. Let's see. Can you FaceTime? Can you FaceTime more than one person at a time?
No.
No.
I
Okay,
haven't created that yet.
that's fine.
Oh, yeah. It's on iOS 12.
Okay, well, I don't have that.
That's fine. Carissa, I'm going to ask you, please. I want you to join back in the teleconference after you role play. But for right now, I'd like you to FaceTime Kayla. And I want the 2 of you guys to role play back and forth, please.
Okay.
Okay? Kevin, can you FaceTime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only one person.
Yep.
Wait, so should I leave now?
Yeah, go ahead and disconnect. I want you to role play with Kayla. and then after you guys finish role playing, I want you to join back in here, please.
Are we doing the whole?
Fine.
Before the interview.
Before the video, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Do it at least twice, 3 times if you can do that before 8:30, and then we'll come back and I'll do after the video.
I'm not doing it the same way. What would you already explain?
Thank you. Kevin, this is Becky's number. Becky, I'm going to have you FaceTime with Kevin. So same deal. If you can disconnect from here, I'll have you guys role play a couple of times, and then we'll have you log back in to pick up, please. Nick, I assume you can FaceTime? What the hell, bro? FaceTime? Okay. Can you FaceTime with Landon, please? Scratch that. Just kidding. Okay. So Landon, same deal. If you can go ahead and disconnect from here, Tiffany will call you. I'll have you guys practice a couple times, and then we'll join back into the thingy.
Sounds good.
And then Brandon and Will, you guys can stay here. Nick, if I can get you to come up here for me. And you guys will be a trifecta. That's fine. Thank you. And same deal. I'd like you guys to role play 2 times at least, 3 times if you can. Just the part where it says up to hit play on the video. All right.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yep. And Will and Brandon and Nick, I'll let you guys rock, paper, scissors, or just volunteer for who goes first.
Okay.
You can go first.
You
Nice.
who, me or Brandon?
I don't got the script.
You know what? Okay, I'll go first.
Actually, Brandon, if you log into the Leadership Academy website, it's in there under the resources section.
Okay.
Okay.
And yes, start with before we start and go up to where it says play video interview.
Okay. All right. Before we start, I want to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, and especially at this time of the year, it's even more competitive than normal. I know that the easy thing to do would be to stay at home and wait until it's easier or just put it off until later, but you made a decision to put yourself out there and do something uncomfortable. So again, I want to acknowledge you for being here and wish you all good luck today. Again, my name is Nick. I started like 2 months ago as a student at HCC/UMBC. I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for their customers. Does anyone have a shiny penny? Either of you? Okay, well, I guess not.
Yeah.
I'll pretend to cut the penny. My favorite thing about the product is that it is American made. The factory is in New York, and about 70% of the people who make the products are military veterans. I'm going to play a short video for you that will explain the position in full detail. One thing I do want to mention is that the video uses a $15 pay rate for standardization since the video is used across the country, but our pay rate in the office is $18.50. Also, a typical appointment takes roughly an hour. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the customer, but about an hour is pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes and also keeping a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones. At the end, I'll make sure all your questions are answered. There are 5 simple questions to answer throughout this video. I pass out the sheet. Don't worry about the short answer questions on the bottom. We'll fill those out at the end. All right, next.
Okay, am I good? All right, well, before we start, I want to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, especially at this time of year. It's even more competitive than normal. Interviews are risky because there's always a chance of getting a no, and I'm sure you have friends who want a new job but don't want to go through the process, so they keep doing what they're doing. But you made a decision to do something uncomfortable, so I want to acknowledge you that and wish you all good luck today. Again, my name is Rebecca Ellison. I started about a year ago as a student at Nova, and I want to show you a quick product demonstration for our students, for what we do for our customers. Does anyone have a shiny penny?
Yeah, then just pretend to cut a penny, I guess.
Yeah. My favorite thing about the product is that it's all American made. The factory is in New York, and 70% of people who make the products are military veterans. And by the way, we loan our reps over $400 worth of product, so there's no deposit or any cost to start. They just return their samples when they're done working. And I'm going to play you a short video that's going to explain the position in full detail. And one thing I do want to mention in this video is that it uses a $15 pay rate for the standardization, but our pay rate in the office is $18.50. As a typical appointment takes roughly an hour. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the customer, but in about an hour, it's pretty standard. Now, during the video, I recommend taking notes and keeping a running list of questions. The video will answer most of the common ones, but at the end, I'll make sure to answer any questions. I'll make sure all your questions are answered. There are 5 simple questions to ask throughout the video. Now, I'm going to pass out sheets and all that. Don't worry about the short answer questions on the bottom. We'll fill them out at the end. The video, yeah.
All right, I'll go next. Before we start, I want to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, and especially at this time of year, it's even more competitive than normal. Interviews are risky because there's always a chance of getting a no. I'm sure you have friends who want a new job, but don't know to go through the process, so they keep doing what they're doing. But you made a decision to do something uncomfortable, so I want to acknowledge you for that and wish you all good luck today. Again, my name is Will Boyness. I started about a year ago as a student at American University. Now, I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for their customers. Does anyone have a shiny penny?
Pretend
so my
that
favorite, what?
Pretend
Yeah,
you're
I pretend to cut one, yeah. All right, so my favorite thing about the product is that it's all American made. The factory is in New York, and 70% of the people who make the products are military veterans. By the way, we loan our reps over $400 worth of product, so there is no deposit or any cost to start. They just return their samples when they're done working. Now I'm going to play a short video that will explain the position in full detail. One thing I do want to mention is that the video uses a $15 pay rate for standardization, but our pay rate in this office is $18.50. Also, a typical appointment takes roughly an hour. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the customer, but about an hour is pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes. Also, keep a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones, and at the end, I'll make sure all of your questions are answered. There are 5 simple questions to answer throughout the video. Don't worry about the short answer questions at the bottom. We'll fill these out at the end. All right.
Actually, hey Nick, if you don't mind, can you jump back with Kevin and we'll play with him? Becky apparently doesn't have FaceTime.
Yeah.
We'll play with him and I'll do these guys.
Okay.
Will, that was good. How did you feel there? You're muted, which I appreciate you being muted, but can't hear you.
Sorry, I said I felt pretty good. Yeah.
Sounded pretty good. One thing I didn't mention that occurred to me as you were pretending to cut a penny is the way we do the demo in the interview is the exact opposite of the way we do the demo on a sales presentation. Okay, on a sales presentation, it's like, look at that, it's amazing, right? In an interview, it's like, yep, it's good. I know it's good.
Okay.
Right? So just something to be aware of. That's the one main difference, is that we're not trying to sell the product, we're trying to sell the job. So we anti-sell the product, just like Elon Musk. Brandon, were you able to get the thingy pulled up?
Yes, I was.
Good. Let me have you go as soon as you're ready, please.
All right. Before we start, I would just like to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, and especially at this time of year, it's even more competitive than normal. Interviews are risky because there's always a chance of getting a no, but I'm sure you have friends who want a new job but don't want to go through the process. So they keep doing what they're doing. But you made a decision to do something uncomfortable. So I would want to acknowledge you for that. I wish you all a good luck today. Again, my name is Brandon King. I started 1 year ago as a student at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for their customers. Anyone have a shiny penny? No? Okay, I have one myself. Cut the penny, woo. What? Oh, okay. I'm confused. Keys to be low key. Okay.
Yeah. You don't say that part out loud. That's a note to you.
Yeah, I was like, my favorite thing about the product is that it's all American made in a factory in Olean, New York. 70% of people who make this product are military veterans. By the way, we loan our reps over $400 worth of products, so there's no deposit or any cost of working, or any cost to start. They just return their sample kits once they're done. I'm going to play a short video that will explain the position in full details. One thing I do want to mention is that the video uses a pay rate of $15, but our pay rate in this office is $18.50. Also, a typical appointment can last an hour. It varies a bit between a customer, but that hour is pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes and also keep a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones, and at the end, I'll make sure all your questions are answered. There are ways that it, or do you want me to keep going?
Yes, I cut you off one sentence too soon. My apology.
Oh. There are 5 simple questions to answer throughout the video. Don't worry about the short answer questions. We'll throw those out at the end.
Wonderful. Good. How did that feel?
Since it was my first time reading it, I could have done it a little bit better, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Normal. Cool. Let me have Will, if you would go again, please, and then Brandon, I'll have you go again, please. And then we'll bring everybody back together and get into the next part.
All right. Before we start, I want to acknowledge you for being here. I know that interviewing for a job is never easy, and especially at this time of year, it's even more competitive than normal. Interviews are risky because there's always a chance of getting a no, and I'm sure you've had friends who have it. Yep.
I don't mean to interrupt. I don't know if this is viable or not, but are you able to stand up and do this?
Yeah, I guess I could.
I'd recommend it just because that's the body position you'll be in when you do it for real. So if it's not viable, like if you're chained to the desk and I know you have a little wires. So if it's not viable, sit. But if you're able to stand, wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, right now I can't stand just because of how the setup is.
That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to ask a question. Go ahead and read it confidently now, but I would encourage you to practice doing it standing just to kind of get how the body feels doing it.
Okay. But you made a decision to do something uncomfortable, so I want to acknowledge you for that and wish you all good luck today. Again, my name is Wilboy Ness. I started about a year ago as a student at American University. Now I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for their customers. Does anyone have a shiny penny? So my favorite thing about the product is it's all American made in a factory in New York, and 70% of the people who make the products are military veterans. By the way, we loan our reps over $400 worth of product, so there's no deposit or any cost to start. They just return their samples when they're done working. Now I'm going to play a short video that will explain the position in full detail. One thing I want to do is mention that the video uses a $15 pay rate for standardization, but our pay rate in this office is $18.50. Also, a typical appointment takes roughly an hour. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the customer, but about an hour is pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes and also keeping a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones, and at the end, I'll make sure all of your questions are answered. There are 5 simple questions to answer throughout the video. Don't worry about the short answer questions on the bottom. We'll fill these out at the end.
Cool. Wonderful. And then Brandon, if you would please go ahead. And I know it's only your second time reading it, so all I'm looking for is that it's at least marginally better than the last time.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge you for being here. I know interviewing for a job is never easy, especially at this time of year. it's even more competitive than normal. Interviews are risky because there's always a chance of getting a no. I'm sure you have friends who want a new job but don't want to go through the process. So they're just doing what they're doing. But you made a decision to do something uncomfortable. So I would like to acknowledge you for that. I wish you all a good luck today. My name is Brandon King. I started a year ago as a student at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I want to show you a quick product demonstration that our students do for their customers. Anyone have a shining penny? My favorite thing about the product is that it's all American made. The factory is made in Olean, New York, and 70% of the people who make the product are military veterans. By the way, we loan our reps over $400 worth in product, so there is no deposit or any cost to start. They just return their sample kits when they're done working. I'm going to show you a short video that explains the position in full detail. One thing I do want to mention is that the video uses a $15 pay rate, but our pay rate in this office is $18.50. Also, during the typical appointment, it lasts roughly an hour. It can vary between person and person, but an hour is usually pretty standard. During the video, I recommend taking notes and also keep a running list of questions. The video will answer the most common ones, and at the end, I'll make sure all your questions are answered. There are 5 questions throughout the video. Don't worry about the multiple choice or the short answer questions at the bottom. We'll fill those out at the end.
Cool. Wonderful. That was more than marginally better. Well done, Brandon. For Marissa and Landon, I didn't get to hear you guys, but how did you feel going through this? I know it was probably your first time doing it out loud.
It was easy. It was cool. Oh, my fault. You can go first.
Teresa? Teresa, I think you're froze.
Hear me?
Yes, now I can. And you grab these guys.
Okay. I thought it was easy, so.
Yeah. So here's what happens. After you and Kevin, can you tell Becky to log back in on Zoom? Beautiful. So here's what happens. You hit play on the video. You're sitting in the back of the room. They get an overview on the job description. You're working on texting no-shows, scheduling people for interviews, deciding why you're going to select people, okay? After the video ends, you come back up to the front of the room, and this is important. So just FYI, the script that we use is slightly modified from the DC Metro Division, and here's why. I had John Fiacco, who I think only 2 or 3 of you guys have met, but he's a Hall of Fame district manager, and he came out at the beginning of the summer to shadow an interview, and one of his comments, and for those of you who are familiar with the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but one of his comments is that the video is very good at covering the job description, explaining what it's like to work here and all those things, but it's very fluffy. That is very fluffy. It's all about, oh, here's all the things I love. It's wonderful. Sunshines, rainbows, kittens. And it's not a very effective interview, right? Or what we call it, a recruiting class, okay? He said you want to have people feeling like there's something they need to work for. Because if it just feels like, oh, I showed up, and because I showed up, I got the job, it's funny because then they don't want the job. If they feel like they had to work for it and earn it, they want it a lot more. Right? So what we were finding is that there was a large number of people who were going through the sunshine and the rainbows who were not coming in for training. They'd be really excited in the interview, and then they wouldn't show up. And so what we did, John and I worked together, one current Hall of Famer to one future Hall of Famer, just saying. But we put together some stuff that would make the interview more effective. So just FYI, ours is slightly modified for that reason. Now, one thing I did for Bryce and Kayla last summer is that we adjusted there. So the script that you have, it is specific to my office in Anne Arundel County. And by the way, for some of you guys, you're currently running interviews in my office. Some of you guys will have a chance to run interviews in my office, especially over the Thanksgiving and the winter breaks. So you use my offices now. But one thing we did for Bryce and Kayla is when they opened up their office, we adjusted it to be relevant to a new office manager. So just FYI, I say that because I want you to read all of the stuff specific to my office. I want you to read it with confidence, like you mean it, because there is a very good chance that all of you guys will have an opportunity to run anywhere from 1 to 3 interviews in my office before you open up your own. And then for those of you who do open up your own, just know we'll give you something that is the same exact structure, but relevant for a new office. Does that make sense? Okay, so for this part, the demeanor stays the same, the attitude stays the same. I want to walk through exactly what we have here, and I want to walk through why we say what we say. Okay, so actually, Nick, I can give this to you so that you can follow along. The first part, we talk about the history of the office. We've been in business since blank. We've accomplished this much, right? You give some kind of achievement. And what that does is it establishes the credibility of your location. By the way, very similar to how on a demo you're talking to the customers about being around since 1949 and a Best Buy and History Channel and all the sexy stuff that Cutco has. It's the same deal to establish credibility. And when you're a brand new office, you're not going to talk about the office, you're going to talk about you. Right? Oh yeah, I've been with the company for a full year. And we'll talk about that. We'll make it relevant to you guys. And then the next part is it shares what you're looking for. Okay, and I believe this is one of the mods from the general script. But you're sharing, I'm looking specifically for this. And it's not background, it's not experience, it's not personality. It is attitude, work ethic, and reliability. And the reason for that is A, it shows that you have a team standard. It's not like, oh yeah, everybody who wants the job gets the job. You get a job, you get a job. Oprah, right? But at the same time, you want it to be relatable, where no matter if someone's been a used car salesman for the past 30 years, or woman, or if they're fresh out of high school and never had a job, you want them to say, okay, I may not have experience, I may not have the personality, I may not have the background, but I do have a positive attitude, I do have reliability, I do have work ethic, so I could be a good fit. Does that make sense? Right? So you're recruiting people obtusely. Is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe. Either way. And then you talk about 80% of people, it's a great fit, 20% it's not. You mentioned the sample kit deposit, that there is none. Rather that it's free, there is no cost to get started. And then from there you go into the schedule. Okay, and this changes seasonally. What we have written in the schedule right now is what most of our full-time college students are doing, which is part-time is 2 to 3 per day, working 4 days a week, doing about 10 or so per week, full-time, being more like a non-student, doing 4 to 5 per day, 6 days a week. So 20 to 30 total. That changes in the summer when almost nobody's a current student and everybody's working full-time. Do you guys get that? But it'll still be relevant in a similar structure. And what that does, and it also mentions there's 2 meetings per week, and some people come to the office every day. Okay, one of the things that you want to prevent is that people are like, oh, it's so flexible, I'll just work when I want, if I want, right? So we're setting the expectation that, hey, it is flexible, but there's a structure. And then the last part talks about the next competition. And in the summertime, you guys all remember, because you were in it, we have the SEC push at the beginning of summer. We have the SC2 push in the middle of summer and the COC push at the end of summer. And we're always promoting the next push and the next conference. And especially in the summertime, all the reps come to all the conferences. Right? In the fall, no reps come to the SLC, and then only manager candidates come to the Olean conference in November. So it's a little different, but in the summertime, every rep comes to every conference. So what we're doing is we're putting the dates in their notes, and we're confirming them even in the interview that, hey, if you got the job, you could be at the conference. Does that make sense? And then you wrap it up by explaining to them how PRs work. You ask them to do PRs. You explain to them how the end of the interview goes. And you want to tell people, and it's in the script, that everybody walks out with something in their hand so no one's embarrassed. You don't want people asking each other if they got the job or not on the way out, because that just creates a really weird vibe regardless of what the answer is. And then this is one key, and it's not written in the script, so you may want to write it down somewhere, is that you always want your applicants spread out when they're doing their sheet at the end. You want them spread out. If you only have one person, they can sit wherever. And for the people in my office, you might have noticed when it's one person, I just leave them at the desk. However, if it's two people, I do not leave them at the desk. I spread them out. If it's 55 people, I spread them out as much as my office will allow. And the reason is, at the end of the interview, you want to collect PRs, the same as at the end of an appointment, you want to collect referrals. But if your customer is distracted, right, they're not going to write down a lot of referrals. If an interview applicant is distracted, or because we do this in a group setting, as soon as one person is done, everybody is done. If they're watching each other. If they're not watching each other, you'll have one person give you 0, but another person give you 20. So that's why you want to spread them out. You'll collect more PRs that way. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'd like to do for Becky. This time you have Kevin's number now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to go back with Kevin. Carissa, if you can go back with Kayla. Landon, if you can go back with Tiffany. Brandon, stay with me. I still have Will, right? Yeah, Will, you're off the screen. Cool. So Brandon and Will stay with me. And then Nick, I'll give you the choice. You can come with me. Actually, no. I would like you to go with Kayla, branch manager. Okay. Go with Kayla. And I want you guys to role play specifically the part after the video is over. We'll do that a couple times, and then we'll wrap up with a couple tips and reminders. Sound good?
Do it.
Nope, that can be for you.
All right.
Okay. And then for Will and Brandon, who went first last time?
I think I did.
Was that
Yeah,
Will?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So Brandon, if you'd be kind enough to go first this time.
All right. Wrap up this portion of the, wait, is this the wrap up after the video ends, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, just making sure. All right, to wrap up this portion of the interview, I want to share a little bit about our team here. We've been in this location since 2013, and this time we sold over 4 million and have been the top ranked team in the region every single year. We're not looking for people with a certain experience or background because we provide full training. The most important thing to me when I'm considering new applicants is I want people who have positive energy, people who are reliable. The job is very flexible, and I want to know that when they tell me they'll do something, they'll follow through and get it done. People who have a great work ethic. I want to make a team better because they're here. The job is not for everyone. 8% of reps who start here love it, get great experience, and make great money. 20% either not a good fit for us or we're not a good fit for them, and that's okay. What I love the most about working here, especially as a student, is that we all work hard and make good money. But the schedule work around classes and other commitments, so our team members never felt like they had to sacrifice their priorities for their jobs.
Cool. Pause there.
Say again?
Pause there. Will, if you can take over and pick up where he left off and keep going.
Jeez, was it like that?
As far as the flexibility, our students love that they can work hard and do all the things that they want to do. There is no quota. To give you an idea, most of our college students do 7 to 10 appointments per week. Some do a couple during the week, and some do weekends only. We design a schedule for each student each week to help them get all of their priorities done. Most of our full-timers do 4 to 5 per day, 4 to 5 days per week, and about 15 to 20 per week. And again, they can arrange their schedules around their other commitments. We have them come in 2 to 3 times each week for a meeting, and we help them set up their schedule and book their appointments. If they want to come in to the office more often, they're always welcome here. And some people do work better in the office than at home. But aside from the 2 meetings, it's entirely up to them. I mentioned earlier that we're competitive, and we have 2 big competitions during the fall. And please write down these dates: September 18th through 28th, and October 19th through November 8th. We do ask that every team member contributes to our team goals during those competitions, and they can win individual trophies and prizes as well. So those are the details of the job, and in a moment, I'll have you go ahead and answer the short answer questions on the bottom of your sheet. When you're done, flip the sheet to the back. The back is the most important. Like I said, I am filling final positions here. I'm sure you all know people who are looking for work, hate their current job, you think would be good at this, or you think that they're worth more than $9 or $10 an hour. What you can do is write down their names and numbers down here, and anyone written down I will guarantee an interview. Unfortunately, I cannot guarantee them a job, but I will give them an interview at the very least. I'm sure you all know tons of people that would qualify, but I don't have all night, and I'm sure you don't either. So I'm just going to ask you for your best 10 to 20. If you need your phone, it's okay. It's okay for you to take it out at this point in time. While you work on this, I'm going to bring you back for a final decision. I'll meet you in a random order, and I'll give you a chance to ask any questions you still have. When you leave, you're all going to walk out with something in your hands, and it looks exactly the same regardless of your decision. The one thing I ask of you is that when you leave, you don't ask and you don't tell who got the job. I do that as a courtesy to you. I never want someone to walk out with here feeling uncomfortable. While you're waiting, if someone's expecting you home soon, please feel free to shoot them a text letting them know that you're almost done. And if you need to use the restroom, please feel free to use it. I'm going to ask that you all spread out throughout the room so you can take your time on this part. Good luck today.
Beautiful. What I'd like you to do is, Will, I want you to start this time, please. And then at the same place where you started, I'd like you to switch off and have Brandon finish. You both will end up doing the whole thing. We're just switching halfway through.
Okay.
Where did you switch off at as far as flexibility?
Yep.
Okay.
To wrap up this portion of the interview, I want to share a little bit about our team here. We've been in this location since 2013, and that time we sold over $4 million, and I've been a top-ranked team in the region every single year. We're not looking for people with a certain experience or background because we provide full training. The most important thing to me when I'm considering new applicants are, I want people who have a positive energy, people who are reliable. The job is flexible, and I want to know that when they tell me they'll do something, they'll follow through and get it done. People who have a good work ethic and want to make the team better because they're here. The job is not for everyone. 80% of the reps who start here love it, get a great experience, and make great money. 20%, either they're not a good fit for us or we're not a good fit for them. What I love most about working here, especially as a student, is that we all work hard and make good money. But the schedules work around classes and other commitments, so our team members never feel like they have to sacrifice their priorities for the job.
As far as the flexibility, our students love that they can work hard and do all the things they want to do. There's no quota. To give you an idea, most of our college students do 7 to 10 appointments per week. Some do a couple during the week. Some only do weekends only. We design a schedule for each student to help them build around or get all their priorities done. Most of our full-timers do 4 or 5 per day. 4 or 5. Wait, what? That says the same thing. and about 15 to 20 per week. And again, they can arrange their schedule around their other commitments. We also have them come in 2 or 3 times a week for a quick little meeting, and we help them set up their schedule, book their appointments, and if they want to come in more often, then they're welcome to do so. Some people do work better in the office than at home, but aside from those 2 meetings, it's entirely up for them. I mentioned that we're competitive. We have 2 big competitions during the fall. Now, please write these dates down: September 18th to the 28th and October 19th to November 8th. We do ask that every team member contributes to our team goals during those competitions, and they win individual trophies and prizes as well. So those are the details of the job. I'll give you, in a moment, I'll have you go ahead and answer questions at the bottom of the sheet. When you're done, flip your sheet over onto the back. The back is important. Like I said, I am filling final positions here, and I'm sure you all know people who are looking for work, hate their current job, think that would be good at this, or you just think they're worth more than $9 or $10 an hour. What you can do is write down their names and numbers down here, and anyone written down, I'll guarantee an interview. Unfortunately, I cannot guarantee them a job, but I will give them an interview at the very least. I'm sure you know tons of people that would qualify, but I don't have all night to do this. I'm sure you don't either. So I'm going to ask for your best 10 to 20. Okay. If you need your phone, it's okay for you to do so. Take it out at this point in time. While you work on this, I'm going to bring you back for a final decision. I'll meet you in a completely random order, and I'll give you a chance to ask any questions you still have. When you leave, you're all going to walk out with something in your hand, and it looks exactly the same, regardless of your decision. The one thing I ask you is that when you leave, don't ask or don't tell who got the job. I do this as a courtesy to you. I never want someone to walk out feeling uncomfortable. While you're waiting, if someone is expecting you home, feel free to shoot them a text letting you know that you're almost done. And if you need to use the restroom, please feel free to do so. I'm going to ask all of you spread out throughout the room. You can take your time on this part. Good luck today.
Okay. You'll get that and all that stuff. So it's not like anything you have to go to or anything. Yes.
Not quite.
Well, yes, there's exceptions, but I mean, I assume you want to talk about that, so.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Beautiful.
I'm going to disconnect from you so you can hop on there.
All right. Welcome back. Hopefully we feel comfortable with that part. Wonderful. Really quick, any questions on any of that stuff? Cool. Here is one thought I do want to share with you is practice is important, just like any other skill that you want to master. By the way, don't pack up quite yet. I do have some closing thoughts for you. But just like any other skill that you want to achieve mastery in, practice is what makes it happen, right? You learn it in the classroom, but doing the homework is when you learn the material. Same deal. This right here, I confess, is dramatically simpler than any other version of the interview that we've run. And I've been through several over the last 13 years, and I told you some stories last week. But just because it's simple, don't be fooled into thinking that it's automatic or easy, right? You still need to be a recruiter. And quite honestly, the video does make it simpler for sure, but the parts where you do talk, you need to make a connection with the people. They need to want to work for you, right? And they also need to get their questions answered. So again, It's not difficult, but don't be fooled into a false sense of, oh, it's super easy. I'll just show up when it's time to open my office and just read it and it'll be fine, right? This right here is one of the most fundamental skills you need as a manager. So my encouragement is go on the Leadership Academy website and watch the recording. We uploaded, and Kevin and Tiffany were kind enough to record one of these last week. So we have a full recording of the entire thing from start to finish being done in a real life scenario. And also on the website, and Nick, I see you looking at me salty. I'll get you the link tonight. I got you. But also on the website in the resources section, I have all of the handouts. There's the full script. There's the application that we give them. There's the job description that we give them in the beginning. There's also the sheet that the video, or excuse me, that we mentioned. There's going to be multiple choice. It's all there. So I want you guys to practice and look over that. And then next week, we'll talk about how to accept someone. Just FYI, Carissa asked the question, does everybody get the job? Right? And Kayla was like, I don't know how to answer that. So yes, the answer is no, right? Not everybody gets the job. And quite honestly, 80% of people are a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them and they have a great experience and make a lot of money. 20% of people are not. Either we're not a good fit for them and they're not a good fit for us, and that's completely okay. Literally, we say that in the interview and it's true, right? But 80% of the people do get the job, 20% do not. And we'll cover that next week when we get to the end of the interview, exactly who does, who doesn't, and how to look out for that. So, Carissa, to answer your question, it's coming, girl. I got you, okay? Just a couple reminders as we wrap up here. Number one, you all scheduled your laser calls. By the way, if you're watching the recording and we're not live with us tonight, I would like you to schedule a laser call, so reach out to me. For those of you who already signed up for one, just make sure it's in your schedule. So you got it? Number two, just a reminder, we have our Olean conference together on November 9th to 11th. That is one where we want every manager candidate and Leadership Academy candidate to be there. By the way, I just found out, and Kate may have talked about this at the prep on Saturday, but by that time, the checkpoint will be to be at $500 in savings. But if you're over $1,000 in savings, you get a picture with the CEO and the executives of the company, and you get a framed letter saying that you're on pace to running your own office, and that gets hung up in your wall. Kayla had it in her office this summer. Bryce had it in his office this summer. I still have mine from 2005 hanging in my home office at my house. So that's a big one. So just FYI, part of that is that you need to be present at the conference. Part of it is the savings targets. Number three, this is important for all of you. With the SLC push tomorrow, take immediate action, okay? Even if it's simply sending out an email to all of your past customers, or whether it's like Becky, hey, I booked 2 appointments, right? May not be a huge win, may not be in the same as what you were doing in the summertime, but man, if you've been inactive in Vector for the past couple weeks, booking 2 appointments is a big deal, right? There's a lot to be said for building momentum and just getting started. So make sure you're taking action right away. I mentioned already, but the website. And then the final one is for those of you who are out of area. I just realized I'm not on the camera. My apology. I thought I meant to be. But for those of you who are out of area and not able to join us last Saturday, there will be an email coming out sometime within the next 48 hours. I'll send you a text to let you know when it comes out. But it's going to have the assignments for the out-of-area candidates, so that'll be coming. And then, of course, the next time we'll all be together is October 13th for the prep. That said, it is 8:58. I wanted to make sure that we finished before 9 o'clock. I appreciate you guys. I am available if you have questions or need anything, so I'll stick around. If not, I appreciate you guys carving time out of your nights to be here with me. Thank you. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys next Monday.
All right, good night.
Hey, John, so in one of the emails you sent everyone this whole thing,